If you find yourself tired of your workouts and trying to find the next way to motivate yourself for your next workout, then guys, there's a good chance that you're making one of these two big mistakes, and that's the reason why your training is boring. What's up guys, Corporate Trains here, and in this video, I'm going to be giving y'all just a little gem and piece of advice in order to be more successful in regards to being consistent to your training and having a different outlook on the reason you train. And gonna just pretty much give y'all the most high level but very crucial advice that I think can really help you guys in regards to being consistent and actually making progress to your training. So a little bit about me. We're gonna get into the backstory of Corporate Trains, right? Is that I've been training for just a little bit close to 6 years, and I've noticed that in regards to having a high sentiment to my training and pretty much knowing how to enjoy the process of working out. One thing that I want to say, which will definitely carry across the entire theme in this message of this video, you want to make sure that you establish discipline before you start relying on motivation when it comes to your training. Meaning, don't expect to just train based off how you feel. There's going to be days, maybe weeks, where you simply don't want to train. This is where you start honing in on your discipline and simply force yourself to train regardless of how you feel or how busy you are. Like, there's absolutely no way that you don't have 60 to 90 minutes a few times a week to be putting that into training, because all you really need is just 3 times a week to train and see a lot of progress, like no cap. So if you're not adhering to that minimum frequency, then what that's telling me is that you simply don't want it bad enough, and you're not prioritizing your health. You're not prioritizing your personal goals. So if you're telling me that you don't have time to work out, then that's completely cap. Because one example is you definitely do have time, and there's a recent study published in May 2024 that states the average person spends 2 hours and 24 minutes on social media every day. And to add more fuel to the fire, the average American checks their mobile device 159 times per day. But what this is telling me from the data, right, is that we're pretty much wasting a good chunk of our time on a day-to-day basis. Like, if you're wasting close to an hour or two per day, multiple times a week, then you're definitely not utilizing your time wisely, right? You're not using quality time, and that time that you wasted on social media can easily rack up to, like, I'm not gonna lie, what's 2 times 7? That's 14 hours per week, right? And if you want to work out just 3 times a week, that's more than enough time to actually work out. So I'm not here to try to come at you, because I was actually a victim once of that second point of checking my phone 150 times a day. And well, not necessarily that exact number, but the study of people who are American, on average, they check their phone 159 times a day. But yeah, I used to check my phone a lot, to the point where it was so bad where I would check my phone thinking that I had a message or a notification, but it was like a whole placebo effect. Like, I would literally just imagine notifications getting sent to my phone, when in reality there was nothing there. It was dry AF, right? So I was so conditioned to just continuously check my phone, to the point where when I did pick up my phone, when I thought I had a notification, or even when I did have a notification, I would probably spend like a few minutes, right? Like anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. Now, if I did that dozens of times per day, that's going to be literally adding up to an hour, if not more, every single day of just time wasted, right? So that time wasted could have been allocated towards the gym. All right, so enough yapping. I just wanted to kind of give y'all a little bit of background context in regards to like how people truly can waste their times, in regards to like my personal experience. And I feel like this is an experience a lot of people go through. So with that being said, let's actually get on to the video. The first reason why your training seems boring is that you have no clear and defined goals. The amount of people who I've talked to on a low-key numerous basis who tell me they want to just build muscle and get stronger is insane. Like, what do you mean by you want to build muscle and get stronger? Like, do you have any other specific goals that allows you to build muscle and get stronger, right? You telling me that it's just saying that you don't have really an idea of how to get to that point. It's not a clear enough goal. And in fact, what this generic and super vague goal, what it could do subconsciously is make it seem far-fetched. So you would literally by default, because it just seems so far-fetched and it's so generic, there's no practical steps to actually approach that goal. Like there's no milestones or objectives to reach. You're not going to ever really get to the point of getting stronger and building muscle, at least at a rate where you would say it's efficient and productive, right? So what you should do instead is actually list out objectives and milestones to reach. Like, yes, make sure you have an end goal, which is building muscle, getting stronger. But the objectives to building muscle and getting stronger needs to be listed out. Otherwise, you're pretty much just going to be having a half-baked plan, and you're kind of just like throwing your goal out in the sky and hopefully hoping that something will stick, which in most cases it doesn't. You're not going to be handed a easy route, right? You got to kind of like plan things out. So a practical example is this. In my current example from last year, at least, my goal is to reach the full planche. So what does that mean? I have to set out some kind of game plan in a very reasonable and practical way. I did this by breaking my goal into phases. 1, what am I doing? 2, how am I doing it? 3, when will I do it? And 4, are there any risks or blockers that will enable me from not reaching my goal? So the first point, what am I doing? Well, what I'm doing is training for the full planche. So boom, I just answered that first particular milestone or the goal that I kind of broke down. Then is the second point. How am I doing it? This can be done by varying my intensities when it comes to training the planche, utilizing different levels of intensities, aka progressions, changing the amount of hold times. Having a 3 to 5 second day would be considered a strength day. Having a 6 to 8 second day hold would be considered like a volume day. So that's a good way to kind of be more objective and plan out your goals to reach your ultimate end goal. Then is the third point. When will I do it? Well, I kind of just answered it briefly on the last point. Is I'm going to be doing mainly 2 sessions, meaning within the 2 sessions, I'm doing shorter duration holds with higher intensities and then longer duration holds with moderate intensities. So that pretty much is going to give me a number to kind of reach for on a week-to-week basis, aka the frequency of my training. And then finally, are there any risks or blockers that's not allowing me to reach my goal? And this can vary for a lot of people, but for me, it's mainly where I can't make it to my training sessions, such as if I'm sick, I'm traveling, or just something pops up during the week where I literally can't work out. Or if I actually face any challenges to my programming, who do I ask? Where do I go? Right? It's really important for you to understand that sometimes you need to seek knowledge from other people who've already done what you're trying to accomplish, which is exactly why I'm hosting free consultation calls. So if you have any questions in regards to getting started with calisthenics or weighted calisthenics, what's the best progression methods, the best strength methods, then definitely feel free to book the link in the description or check the pinned comments to talk with me. So bring your questions, I'll give my responses, and we'll get a good conversation going. Now, the second point to why you're training is simply boring is that you're simply not making any progress at all. Whether it's from a strength or muscle building perspective, this pretty much bleeds into my first point on not having a clear goal. But let's say you do have a goal. You broke it down and stayed somewhat consistent and gave it a try, yet found no measurable progress when you first started, or simply not the rate of progress that you expect yourself to find. This can easily demotivate you and take you away from the route to your training, because you simply haven't seen any progress, and psychologically it's going to make you feel bored, right? You're just not going to be super into your workouts because you simply don't see any progress, which allows you to just not stick to it no more. And this is something that honestly everybody will go through, right? Even myself. Like sometimes if I plateau, right, I'm like, okay, what did I do wrong? Is something wrong with my training? And if I continue doing that incorrect way of training, I do get bored of that way of training because I'm not seeing any results, right? I'm not seeing any progress. So pretty much when people put in some type of work in whatever it is that they want to do, they expect to get something in return, right? So if you work out, you expect to see something back, whether it's physically, whether it's like mentally, you expect to see some kind of results. So the solution to this is to pretty much change the objectives a little bit where it still allows you to make it be more consistent with your current end goal. So you don't want to completely restructure your training where it derails you from your original goal. Rather, you want to change the variables that you kind of implemented, but you notice that it's lagging in a bit to be more suitable, be more optimal in the sense of like sticking to your original goal. Now, there's a bunch of ways to go about improving your training, building a better sentiment about your workouts, so you're not getting bored and still making progress. But hopefully the examples that I provided will aid in your current training and provide some better results. But hey, what do I know? If you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow me, man. I'm the Tub Fitness Guy with you. No cap.
Cobra Trains, he's up next. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. He's number one out here.
He's the toughest fitness guy out here.